So in this video, I want to discuss a serious problem I have with the new 16-inch MacBook Pro. I just got this a couple of weeks ago. It's the highest specs on the processor you can have, Core i9, 9th generation Intel processor. Highest spec on the RAM you can have, 64 gigabytes. I have 8 terabyte SSD in this laptop. And by the way, I paid about $6,800 to get it. Why do I purchase such an expensive machine? Because I'm a heavy content creator. I have heavy workload on my computer. I was looking forward to the fixes Apple built in when it comes to thermal throttling. I was also looking forward to much higher performance on the graphic engine. So this is the 8 GB graphic RAM AMD Radeon Pro 5500M. Again, the highest spec you can have on an Apple laptop, but somehow this machine is driving me crazy because it's not working and behaving the way it should behave. And I'm going to explain this now in a few minutes. And if someone has a solution for that problem or has similar issues, drop us a comment, let me know what you think. So when looking at this, I thought maybe my settings are wrong in Premiere Pro and it's kind of using soft encoding or what have you. But when I go into project settings in general, it's actually the correct setting here. So you have 3 settings here. You have the Mercury Playback Engine GPU acceleration with OpenCL, that's deprecated. You have the software only, which is not recommended at all. And you have what has been selected, the Mercury Playback Engine GPU acceleration Metal. And Metal is basically the graphic API or graphic engine from Apple, which is tailor-made and should actually work fine on that new 16-inch MacBook Pro. And then the last thing I checked was going into the settings, and then in the settings going into energy saver, I already disabled here automatic graphic switching. And Apple clearly say here, when automatic switching is disabled, which is the case, your computer will always use high performance graphics. This may decrease battery life. I have no issue with the last part of that message, but it is not giving me high performance. That's my issue. So that's also nothing where the computer has no clear instructions how to actually render, but somehow it's not working. My Premiere Pro video rendering is now at 8 hours and 3 minutes, which is absolutely ridiculous. This is the type of videos I've done, I don't know, 50 to 100 times in the past, and typically it should take about 30 minutes to get it rendered. I also opened here the activity monitor, and you see Adobe Premiere is keeping my computer quite busy. We have 460 almost in percentage of CPU. A lot of CPU time assessed to it, 90 threads and so on. But the graphical processing unit in percentage is almost not used here. And if you look at the statistics, so there is one window you can choose here, which is called GPU history. And if you have that window here, you basically see that it is all consuming the internal graphics, which is absolutely not performing. And the AMD Radeon Pro 5500M is not used at all, which explains exactly why this is taking forever to get the video rendered. And I think this is just ridiculous looking at it. We are at 8 hours, 3 minutes now here. We have 2% rendered, 15 minutes passed by already. So that doesn't make sense at all. So folks out in YouTube, what's going on here? So pretty clear that people will now second guess that Apple might have shipped a defective or broken unit to me, because everybody on YouTube and in the internet is so excited about the new 16-inch MacBook Pro. But actually, I don't think that it is defective from a hardware perspective, because what I have open here on the computer now is Geekbench 5, and Geekbench 5 can run and test the CPU of the computer. I start this now and we record this, and you know, maybe I go a little bit closer here and zoom a little bit on my iPhone, which is in front of my computer. So you see now all kinds of tests run here, basically making the CPU sweat. And we wait for them. I'm going to accelerate this in a moment, and then we look at the conclusion. When the tests are done, a website will open. My test data, anonymously of course, will be uploaded to the Geekbench 5 webpage, and then it can be put in perspective. But when I did run that test last night, it was actually from the order of magnitude even a bit better when it came to the score than what people published in the internet or on YouTube. So let's see what we get. Okay, so here we see the score. And the one I want to focus on is the multi-core score, which is 7,241. And that's absolutely fine. If you look what people publish, what their Geekbench 5 score is on their new MacBook Pro 16-inch, it's in an order of magnitude of, you know, give or take 6,800 to above 7,000. So 7,241 actually is a very good multi-core score. So the next test, since the CPU seems to be fine, will now be on the GPU, and it shows me here my two GPUs. It's probably a bit small on screen, but doesn't matter. And it also correctly identifies as GPU 2, the AMD Radeon Pro here. And I can choose here what I want to test. So this is currently at OpenCL, but we of course want to test Metal. And then here it switches automatically to the AMD Radeon Pro. And now we can run the benchmark and let's see what we get. So this is starting now, and now all kinds of tests are conducted on the machine, testing the GPU and hopefully making it sweat. Let's see what we get. I'm going to accelerate this now again, and then when the web page pops up with the result, we look at the score. So the website is coming up, and you see here a score of close to 24,000. That's absolutely fine from an order of magnitude perspective. I still have Final Cut Pro open in the background. There are some who report slightly higher scores on this AMD Radeon Pro graphic card, but at least we see that the card is working and it kicks in the way it should kick in. So the last test I was doing last night was running a very powerful graphic demo on my Mac. And you see here what it is. You can also specify parameters. There will be a little bit of flickering because I have Final Cut Pro open in the background, which is currently my kind of refugium, given that my Premiere Pro is not working the way it should work. And I also have the 4K screen recording in the background from QuickTime, so there will be maybe some delays, but I have chosen here intentionally quality high to see what this computer can actually provide to me. What we also should do is we should open the activity monitor, which was in this section so disappointingly empty under Premiere Pro. And I want to see now if when we run that engine here, if finally the AMD Radeon kicks in and we get some real GPU power here. So let's start this. You see here it's loading, and we have actually now a full screen, and later on we'll check the activity monitor. Okay, look at that. This is quite fluent. I don't think you get such a detailed graphic so fluent on a computer without a powerful GPU, which is again confirming that somehow this Radeon GPU is working, but it is not working with the software I'm typically using, because I'm not staring at my computer chilling on graphical demos from games where I cannot interact. I'm using this laptop for content creation, for, you know, large file size photography and video cut. And here, if you look at that, looks just perfect. I mean, we can enjoy this for another minute, and then I probably break this up and look at the activity monitor. I just want to make sure that it really kicks in. But the graphic is fantastic. A little bit of flickering, but not too much. And probably because we have some other software open in the background and that 4K screen recording. But in general, it looks really, really good. Lots of details also on the ropes here on that ship. Look at the grass, a little bit of movement, quite nice, very smooth. I think I can stop this here and quit the demo. So, and now what do we see here? Let's get this in the middle. What we see here is finally a little bit of internal graphic card, but heavy load, heavy use on the Radeon graphic card. So somehow this demo seems to address and basically to connect with the Radeon Pro, which I think is proof of concept that somehow with the hardware, most of the stuff here will be okay. But it's not working with the main programs. It's the same if you use iMovie or Final Cut Pro. In general, the interaction with the AMD Radeon is very, very reluctant or not appearing at all. It's all processed via the internal graphic card here. And by the way, also here, if we go back to the energy section in the settings, that switch here, when I disabled automatic graphic switching, seems not to work at all, because here you see both graphic cards actually had some use. The heavy use was on the Radeon Pro, not on the Intel, but somehow it's not respecting what it's saying here, always use high performance graphics. So I don't know, is this a firmware issue on the MacBook Pro 16-inch? Is it a Catalina operating system issue? What else it is, I don't care actually. And if we would have Apple and Adobe now around the table and we would do some finger pointing, probably Adobe would say Apple has shipped a premature laptop. Apple would say Premiere Pro did not adapt their Creative Cloud suite to the new world. You know what, as a consumer, I don't care. I pay a hell of a money for that laptop. I pay a quite significant monthly fee for my Creative Cloud, and I just want those companies to bring us gadgets which we can use for our daily work and which just function in the way as it has been advertised. Anyway, if you have any comments on this, if you have solutions and I was overlooking something, if you have similar experiences, whatever it is, please drop me a comment, let me know, let's get into a discussion. And it's very likely that I will return this laptop early next week to Apple, because in this way I could not use it. My old 15-inch MacBook is performing much better, has an older GPU built in, but is doing the job, and whether I wait 30 minutes or 40 minutes for a rendering, that's not so important for me. What I don't want to wait is 8 to 10 hours, of course. That's absolutely unacceptable. If you like my video, give me a thumbs up. If you like my channel, please subscribe. Do not be shy in comments. Thanks for watching and peace out.